Here we are at Sebring Slotcars. We got Jim Wood, Gary Warden, Rick Swartz, Victor Villachow, and Victor Abreu racing. We are 11 laps into the first heat. Jim Wood on orange, Gary Warden on yellow, Victor Villachow on white, Rick Swartz on black, and Victor Abreu on red. Everybody's at 17 laps, so it's a good close race so far. Victor Abreu just came off under the bridge. We got him back on and got it track rolling again. Victor Villachow just came off. Traffic's cleared. Start the race. Got around 20 seconds left in this heat. Gary Warden leading the heat. Jim Wood and Victor Villachow and Rick Swartz, all three are tied behind Gary. Into the heat. Gary starts the next heat on yellow. Gary starts on orange, Rick Swartz on yellow, Jim Wood on white, Victor Villachow on red, Victor Abreu on green. That red and white lane, those are some tough lanes. That dead man's corner will eat you up. Right there after the start-finish line, that's just a killer corner. That was Victor Villachow came off there. We probably have more wrecks there than the whole rest of the track. I guess we just got to learn to slow down. Looks like Jim Wood might have gotten a lap on Gary. They're back tied. Still have a four-way tie, essentially. Very, very close race. Jim Wood and Gary Warden are running neck and neck with Victor Villachow right on their door. What a close race. Jim Wood is just barely ahead of Gary Warden. Into the heat. So we're getting ready to start a new heat. Jim Wood goes from white to red. Victor Villachow goes to green. Victor Abreu goes to blue. And Gary Warden goes to white. Rick Swartz is on orange. Got a crash on the donut. Victor Villachow came off. Rick Swartz came off. Victor Abreu came off. Those wrecks cost you a good quarter to half a lap. Looks like Jim Woods pulled ahead of Gary a little bit. And Gary's ahead of Victor Billichow. Jim Wood and Gary are at 80 and Victor Billichow at 76, I believe. Nope, 78. It's 80 now. Into the heat, going into a new heat. Here we go. Jim Wood still leading. Gary Warden in second, barely behind Jim. Gary lost a couple of feet. That's Gary and Jim running side by side. Jim in a red, white, and blue car, Gary in the blue. They're neck and neck on the lap. Jim just pulled ahead of Gary. Gary just pulled ahead of Jim. And Gary's leading Jim by about 3 feet. Now they're back even. All right, Jim's opened up a little gap. Jim's leading with 114 laps. Gary Warden about half a lap behind. In the heat. Counting down. Got Jim on blue. Victor Billichow on purple. Gary Warden on green. Rick Swartz on red. Victor Abreu on black. Black is a fast lane. Blue is a fast lane. Purple's a fast lane. Red's the only lane that's being played right now that's a challenge. And it is a challenge. Mainly that first left-hand turn going under the bridge we call Dead Man's Corner. It's a good thing these cars are toys, because if the real cars wrecked like these cars wrecked, there'd be a lot of dead drivers. There's one into the wall. It looks like Gary. Good thing his driver had a Hans device on. Went nose first into the wall. Jim Wood still leading. Gary Warden still in second. Victor Villachild a little behind Gary in third. Rick Swartz in fourth, and Victor Abreu in fifth. Rick Swartz is running a good race today. Looks like end of heat. Here we go. Got Gary and Jim still within a couple of feet of each other. Jim's a lap up. Gary just came out. So Jim got a half a lap on him there. Gary's got to catch Jim and pass him, and then pass him a second time to take the lead. All it requires is a couple of people take Jim out or Jim to wreck, and Gary will be the new leader. Gary came off again. Victor came off again. Jim came off again. Gary's got to be careful. He comes off too many times. Victor's going to pass him and push Gary to third. It's getting to be a close race between Gary and Victor. Jim's pulling away from Gary. Gary looks like he's slowed down or settled down. He's turning some good lap times now. End of heat. We're going to take a short break. We're going to cut it out, but Victor Villachild's daughter is playing softball up north for the championship title, and so we stopped the race, went and watched her play some softball, and then came back and finished the race. Her team did win the championship, and congratulations to that team. I forget what school it is, but it was a collegiate championship. Having a good run on this heat. Victor Villachild's having a really good race on yellow. He's trying to catch Gary and Jim, and he's made up some laps. He's ahead of Gary and Jim on the heat, but he's still behind on the race. This is heating up. Gary and Victor Billichild just need for Jim to wreck a couple of times, and then they can take the lead from Jim. In the heat. I think this is the last heat. We have Jim leading, Gary Worden in second, Victor Billichild in third. Gary and Victor are about the same lap. We got Jim on yellow, Victor Billichild on orange, Rick Swartz on purple, Gary Worden on black, and Victor Abreu on white. So Gary Worden can make up some time on black. It's a fast lane. Question is, can he stay ahead of Victor Billichild? Because orange is a pretty fast lane also, although black is a little faster. Jim Wood just came out. Coming out of the donut, you got to be patient before you get on that gas too hard. And Jim Wood is out again. That's tightening things up. Gives Gary and Victor a little hope. Jim's still ahead, but not by much. About a half a lap. Victor Billichild is pushing Gary. And Victor came out and gave Gary a little breathing room. All right, that ought to be the ball game. Let's see if we can get you some totals. We got a tie between Victor and Gary. We got to break the tie. Gary ended up little ways ahead of Victor, so Gary ended up with second place. So we got Jim Wood in first place, Gary Worden second place, Victor Billichild in third place, Rick Swartz in fourth, and Victor Abreu in fifth place. That is our race. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you can come race with us sometime at Sebring Slotcars. Thank you for watching.